Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for just taking your time out of your Friday to do our HSS informational interview. We truly appreciate just the insight and advice that you can give to our HSS students. I have the privilege of being here today with Dr. Georgia Shaheen. And the first question we have for you, Dr. Shaheen, is what has your career path looked like thus far?
Yeah, so I actually came into LSU as an undergrad and originally anticipated going to law school. So I was originally a business major and along the way changed my route a little bit. And so then I changed my major to psychology and then I actually did a master's before doing my PhD. So I did my master's at Southeastern, and then I came back to LSU for my PhD. I did an externship placement at Brown in Rhode Island while I was doing my PhD, and then I did my internship year at St. Jude Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. And then I came back to do fellowship in Baton Rouge at the Emerge Center.
Awesome. And thinking about all of those amazing experiences that you've had, how do you find that your HSS degree or background prepared you for the workforce?
I think that so the clinical psychology to be a psychologist route is pretty competitive. And at LSU specifically, it really prepares you to be a competitive applicant through that process to go on internship or residency and then fellowship. And I've felt that it prepared me to be a really well-rounded provider. I knew that I would always work in a clinical capacity, but having that research background was really helpful to me in a lot of ways as I progress through the career trajectory, even though that's not a main part of my career today.
In thinking about maybe your undergraduate or your PhD time here at LSU, do you remember any classes that maybe you took that you found to just be really helpful or just really good classes that you enjoyed?
I really enjoyed, and I don't know if some of the professors that I took are still there today.
Yeah.
There's two that I took during my PhD time that if you ever have the opportunity to take one of their classes, you definitely should. Dr. Paul Frick or Dr. Matt Calamia, definitely. I would definitely take those classes, and I know that they are still there. Um, but I definitely really enjoyed the abnormal class, like the abnormal psychology classes, I like the development classes. I'm a pediatric psychologist now, so that makes a lot of sense that I enjoyed both of those. But I thought that they were really interesting and I really liked it. And those two professors in general just really have a passion for what they do. And any class that you take with a professor that is just so knowledgeable and so passionate about teaching you, I think it's a really enjoyable class. So that's what I would recommend.
Awesome. And this is a little off the cuff question, but I know some students would really want to know. I know you said right now you are a pediatric psychologist.
Yeah.
Um, what does a typical day look like for you? Like if someone were to have that aspiration of wanting to be a pediatric psychologist, what could they expect in having that typical day to day?
So, one of the really great things about this field in general is that you can make your day to day look like whatever you want to. So, my typical day looks a lot different than some of the other colleagues that I have that I graduated with. So, it took a really long time to get here, but today I only work 3 days a week. I
Awesome.
work Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and that's my like face-to-face patient interaction time. Um, and then I do a lot of I kind of have the freedom to do the things that I need to do if I need to catch up or report rate or other things on Mondays or Fridays. Or just, that work-life balance that we all aspire to have. But I on the days that I am in the office, I have face-to-face time with patients from 9 o'clock in the morning and until probably about 6 or 7. So I stay really late on the days that I am there.
Right.
Um, but it has a lot of, it has a lot of flexibility. So I do a lot of um, therapy, but I also do a large amount. I would say the majority of it is evaluation. So testing, all of that, all of the things that go with doing comprehensive psychoeducational evaluations, figuring out what's going on and do they meet diagnostic criteria for something? And if they don't, what are the problems and how do we address those? And giving that feedback to parents and the kids or teenagers. So that is what my day to day looks like when I'm in the office.
That's awesome. I love that you mentioned like that work-life balance. I think that's something that we are all striving for.
Yes.
And I think that's awesome with where you're at now.
Yeah. It took a long time to get here, but I'm really it's paying off, right? Like, when
Hmm.
you think about how long, oh gosh, this career is going to take forever until I'm actually there. I think it is good to hear feedback on the other side of it. Is that actually once
Yeah,
you make it through that tunnel, it is pretty rewarding.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
And thinking about, again, either your time as an undergrad or when you were in the doctorate program, did you get involved in any organizations or part-time jobs or research on campus that you found that just really helped you in applying for maybe your doctorate program or applying for jobs outside of college?
You should definitely get involved in one of the research labs. Especially if your plan is to pursue a PhD in clinical psychology. That's going to be really important, and that's one of the first ways that you can gain um, a foot in the door kind of experience and exposure to what's going on in those labs, what kind of research are they doing, what is interesting to you, those sorts of things. And also networking and making connections because that is also very important. And so I did that as an undergrad. Towards the end of my undergrad career, once I had made the switch. So I did do that. One of the things that I probably, if I had known that this is a path I was going to take from the beginning and something I'd tell my high school patients, my anybody that asks, when you're looking into, okay, I'm kind of interested in this job or I think I would like to do this for a living. You want to get as close to that job as you possibly can, even if that's volunteering to like work in the office, get coffee, make copies, do whatever you can to get as close to people working in that profession as you can because you get so much exposure to what does this actually look like? Like you asked me, what does the day to day look like? Are they happy? Are they, all of the things? And can you see yourself doing that? So that would be my advice. But definitely, if you're looking at a clinical psychology PhD track, you should get involved in some research that's on campus.
I love that you brought up like just the networking and kind of for putting yourself in those spaces. I think that's something that I also wish I did a little bit earlier in my
Yeah.
college years, but just didn't think about the value of it. And so that's something that we're always telling our incoming freshmen, our sophomores to get involved. Like it's never too early to start gaining those experiences, whether it's just going to networking events or having conversations with people who serve in the roles that we would like to do one day. It's amazing how much that insight and that experience can help you grow as professionals.
Yep. So
And so
true.
my last question, which you kind of already hit on in the previous one, is in thinking about your own career journey and maybe even your academic journey, what advice do you wish you received when you were in college?
I think that would be my biggest thing is don't be afraid to take a position that gets you closer to like that area that you're interested in, even if
Mhm.
it's not this glamorous role, right? Like I think a lot of people that are hiring in different positions or roles, the applications that they are posting are for people, you probably feel discouraged when you're looking at that because you're like, oh, I don't fit the qualifications. I don't, gosh, I just have to wait until this point or this point or this point. Um, and I think you kind of miss out on a lot of experiences of really that can really shape the direction that you're going because there's a lot that you don't know. And so I would take the phone call answering jobs or the like, hey, can I just like I'm happy to do anything in this capacity, help out whatever in whatever career field you think you're interested in. Making copies, filing stuff, running errands, doing different types of things. Um, Instead of waiting until you feel like you're a good qualified applicant to do something a little bit more glamorous. Networking is a huge piece of any job that you're in, any application that you're going to put in, any school that you're going to pursue. You need to meet people in those fields and you need letters of recommendations. And this is one of the ways that you do that. And you also do something for yourself too. You figure out, you get a lot of answers that you don't even know that you're looking for yet. Um, so that would be my career advice that I wish um, I would have had and maybe tried to pursue a little bit sooner.
I think that's just so important is like understanding that while you might find those positions or those internship postings that are only hiring for those master or doctoral level students, just being in those spaces and being in that environment, like the power of just having conversations with people who work closely related to these different fields can truly shape and transform your own career trajectory. I see it all the time working with students. And so I'm glad to hear from you and your experience that that's something that you also see too.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's going to
Well,
be more valuable than the like hour you may get meeting with someone, right? Like because
right.
so many questions come up or things that you want to know that you don't even know to ask right now. And so I think that that gives you a space to really kind of figure those kind of things out.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Shaheen, just from taking these 30 minutes, 20 minutes to kind of just talk about a little bit of how we can best prepare students who might be pursuing this kind of career. It is truly, truly impactful. And just thank you again so much for your time.
No problem. Thanks.